Okay, welcome to Mandy Stonia's podcast. I have my interviewee with me here. Um, so this is Alison Chappell,
Hi.
and we're going to just do a little chat backwards and forwards and I'm going to ask some questions and we'll see where this leads us. So, Alison, thank you very much for agreeing to be interviewed by me.
Pleasure.
I am supposed to give the listeners a framework of our relationship. And my first question is, and you can introduce yourself as well, is how did we meet? What were we doing? And where was it?
Okay, so we met 18 months ago, probably, at the, I want to say the Rico Arena because that's what it used to be called, but it's now the Coventry Building Society Arena. And I and my partner Cheryl, we were volunteering at the Billie Jean King Challenge Cup, some tennis-y event. Can't remember what the thing was. And Cheryl met Mandy and I met Mandy. Now, Cheryl and Mandy hit it off a lot. And we were scanning entry tickets into the arena for people coming to watch the tennis. And Cheryl and Mandy decided to have a competition between their side and our side. So we met in that way. And then we formed a little WhatsApp group of the people that were doing the volunteering, because there were a few of us that got on quite well. And then we've done various tennis volunteering events and also developed the friendship, and we now see each other quite regularly.
Yeah, and it's been great, hasn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. Yes,
completely. Yeah. So I suppose you need to tell people that are listening and watching where you live and where I live, because it's not going to be
no. So we live in Rugby, and Mandy lives near Bath. And so we meet in Cirencester because that's the point between us. But we've been to, Mandy obviously came up to Coventry. Coventry's really close to us. We've been to Manchester volunteering together and spent a week in a house together. And that really cemented the friendship. Yeah. And then we spent a week doing Nottingham and also spent a week in a house together. There's a theme really going on.
Hey ho. Okay, so a short friendship in many ways, but I feel one that's based on trust and empathy.
Yeah.
And you obviously, and how do you see our friendship?
I agree with you. It's based on trust and empathy, but I think we have fun. We have similar values, which for me is really important in friendships. And you're just very easy to chat, get along with, and we have some interesting discussions, and we share stuff, and that's how friendships develop, in my view.
Now you're worldwide travelers, because obviously you both retired, so I'm going to throw this one in. And have you, as traveling, do you find you create friendships with other people in different worlds, in different parts of the world, or is that not on your radar?
It's not some. I'm not some. I'm someone who instinctively knows when I like someone, and if I don't like someone, I don't put any effort into it. Cheryl, on the other hand, Cheryl is my partner, for everybody who doesn't know. Cheryl, on the other hand, will talk to anybody and everybody. And so traveling is fun with her because we meet interesting people, some of whom I don't like, and so we don't see them again, and some of whom are nice. And I don't think we travel to make friends, but I think we travel to meet people who are interesting in one way or another. And sometimes they develop into longer acquaintances. We've never met friends, people who've become friends from traveling.
Yeah.
Because usually you've got to put a lot more effort in. So,
not for you. All right, let's move on. I'm going to take you back to your Nottingham days because you did meet a friend when you were there. And for the listeners, you need to say what your role was at Nottingham when you worked there and what you did and how you were. And when you've talked about Cheryl, your partner, and so I suppose, and I know we've talked about this off the recording, you're happy to talk about this, is when did you
Mm.
realize you needed to look at your own sexuality? And in the early days of coming out, how did that affect or effect your work, if at all?
Okay. So I studied in Nottingham. I did a history degree in the middle 80s. And then I stood to be elected as the Athletic Union president, or the sports president, as other people might know it, and got elected. I was a typical sporty at university, drank a lot, yeah, all the stuff that goes with that. And then I stayed in Nottingham afterwards during my year. So it's called a sabbatical. So basically, you get paid a very little amount of money,
Yeah.
but your job is to run the bit of the student union that you're responsible for. So I was responsible with a paid secretary for running all the sport.
Yeah.
And we did lots of competitive sport at a university level, but also inter-hall sport. But to just segue into the rest of my life, the year that I was elected as a sabbatical, I was elected with 3 other men, and we didn't have anybody covering the welfare portfolio. And in those good old, sexist times, as a woman, I was told that that would be a good thing for me to do, cover. So I did a bit of that. But the National Union of Students do lots of training for student union officers to understand their roles over the summer. And I went along to some of that training, and I've always been very politically motivated, but decided to be a sporty at university and not a political person. And I found politics, and that really, I found the rest of my life. The friend I met in Nottingham was someone who knew me when I was passing as a straight person, as a heterosexual person, a straight person. And I lost contact with her, along with a lot of my university friends, when I came out, because I was worried that they wouldn't accept me. Again, we're talking late 80s, early 90s. And for those of you old enough, you can understand that that was quite a significantly homophobic period. For those of you young enough, I'll sound like a dinosaur, but it wasn't easy to be out at that point. I probably, in terms of the question about my sexuality, I started querying my sexuality when I was about 13 or 14. But again, you young people won't understand this, but that at the time, the girls and teenage magazines had only just started, Just 17 and things like that. And I used to read all the, everything from cover to cover, including the problem pages. And lots of women, girls used to write in saying, I think I fancy women, I think I'm attracted to women. And the response,
Jackie, that was Jackie.
Yeah, that was a Jackie.
That was
Just
a Jackie.
17, all that sort of stuff.
Oh, that's
Anne-Marie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the advice at the time from the advice columnists was, it's a phase you're going through. I equally wanted to get married and have 8 kids. So that's what I saw myself doing. So I believed it. I believed it was a phase I was going through. And I found some men attractive, but I found a lot more women attractive. Nowadays, with the openness around sexuality, I might decide that I could describe myself as bi, but at the time that wasn't even something to be thought about. So I just hid that part of me completely. I just suppressed it and thought I was like everybody else, but never really engaged with men properly.
So let's move that forward, because I'm going to interrupt you because we're running out of time, believe it or not. So now, 30 years later.
Yeah.
So you and Cheryl been together 30 years.
Yeah.
And I absolutely admire everything you do and say, both of you, because I think you both are amazing, individually and together,
Thank
a
you.
force to be reckoned with, which is why you are part of my Inspire, because you inspire me to do the things and be better myself, and for me to think things through better. Um, but I just want to ask one question. We have had lots of late night conversations, not so much alcohol fueled, but late night conversations, cheese and biscuits fueled. Has there ever been a time when you felt uncomfortable with a situation? And if so, how have you dealt with it?
In terms of any situation or in terms of my
Yeah,
sexuality?
let's carry on that theme.
I uh, as I've got older, I think generally, again, society has changed. It's much more acceptable
Mm.
now to be anything you want to be. When I was younger, I wouldn't. The most difficult thing I ever did was coming out to my parents.
Mm.
It took me 4 years to come out to my mum and dad. I had a relationship with a woman for 5 years, and I only came out when I bought a house and it was obvious that there was only one bedroom.
Right.
And I had to believe that I could live without my mum and dad's love and approval, and that was the time I
Mm.
felt I was able to come out. And I wrote them a letter because I couldn't do it face to face or put her on the phone. And I got a call from my mum about 5 minutes after I knew they'd got the post saying, "Don't be so stupid," and everything was fine.
Mm.
The most difficult situations have been in terms of my sexuality around family who are religious and who
Right.
don't
Yeah.
accept
Yeah.
what my sexuality, and around some men who think that they can convert me. But
No chance. No chance.
no chance.
Well,
But that gets less and less the older I
yeah.
get. So
Yeah.
when
Yeah. Yeah.
and to be honest, I just cut those people out of my life. Even relatives, we don't engage with some relatives who are not accepting, because it's not important enough to me. My friends are my family as much as my family is my family. My family
Yeah.
and Cheryl's family, on the whole, were very accepting. It's the sort of cousins and second cousins that
Yeah.
are a bit
Extended
more.
family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Extended family. Yeah.
And I just, once I had my sister was always fine, but once my mum and dad said, "Don't be so silly, we love you," whatever, it doesn't
It
matter
was
to me
okay.
what anybody else
Yeah.
thinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've never been in a situation where I felt threatened by anybody, and I'm very thankful for that.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Because that could have been. Right. Well, we've been talking
Sorry,
forever, and we can't talk forever. We're not allowed to. So I'm
no.
going to finish it now. Is there anything you'd like to say, contribute? Um, this is to listening to, there'll be some people listening who never heard somebody like you talk before, or know lots of people like you. Is there anything you'd like to say to us LTA Inspire ladies?
The only thing I would say, and it's something I live by, is you have to live your best life. You have to live your best life. And if something is, if you are stopping yourself because of your self-doubt, your lack of confidence, then find support to get rid of that and to really help you work out what it is you want out of life, and then try to get it, because we have one life, and if we're not living our best life, there's no point. You have to live your best life, and that, I think, is what solidifies our friendship, is that we are both in positions where we want to live our best life, and we encourage each other to do that. Yeah. And inspire each other to do that.
Yeah.
Because the inspiration works both ways.
Thank you very much, Alison.
Sorry if I talked too much.